There are paintings that reveal themselves immediately. You look at them once, and almost everything they want to say seems to be right there, in front of you. But there are other paintings that behave differently. They remain silent at first, until one small detail changes everything. We are going to look at one of the strangest portraits in European art. At first glance, it shows an old fisherman sitting by the sea, holding his cane, staring directly at us. Nothing violent is happening. There is no dramatic battle, no mythological monster, no supernatural creature appearing from the darkness. And yet, hidden inside this quiet image, there seems to be something deeply unsettling. Because when this painting is mirrored from one side, the old man appears calm, wise, almost sacred. But when the other side is mirrored, the same man seems to transform into something darker, colder, and almost demonic. The painting is called The Old Fisherman, and it was created by the Hungarian painter Tivadar Kosztka. And what makes this work so fascinating is not only the strange effect that people discovered in it, but the possibility that Csontváry may have placed, inside one single face, two opposite visions of the human soul. Tivadar Kosztka was not the kind of artist who followed a predictable path. He was born in 1853 in what was then part of the Kingdom of Hungary, and for many years his life seemed to have very little to do with painting. Before becoming an artist, he worked as a pharmacist. He had a respectable profession, a stable life, and no obvious reason to abandon everything in search of something as uncertain as art. But according to the story often told about his life, everything changed when he was 27 years old. While working in a pharmacy, Csontváry experienced what he believed to be a mystical revelation. He became convinced that he had been chosen to become a great painter, greater even than Raphael. To most people, this would have sounded impossible, maybe even absurd. But for Csontváry, it was not simply an ambition, it was a calling. From that moment on, he began to shape his life around this vision. He studied, traveled, observed, and slowly developed an artistic language that did not fully belong to any single movement. His paintings have been connected to post-impressionism, symbolism, expressionism, and visionary art, but none of these labels completely explain him. Csontváry painted as if the visible world were only the surface of something much larger. He traveled through parts of Europe, the Mediterranean, North Africa, and the Middle East, searching for landscapes, cities, ruins, mountains, and skies that seemed to carry a spiritual force. In many of his paintings, nature is not just scenery, it feels alive. His colors often feel brighter than reality, as if the world had been touched by a strange inner light. But despite his enormous personal conviction, Csontváry was not widely understood during his lifetime. His personality was often seen as eccentric, and his work did not fit comfortably into the artistic expectations of his time. He believed deeply in his own mission, but recognition came slowly. Like many visionary artists, he seemed to live partly inside the world and partly outside it. Only later would people begin to understand how unusual and powerful his art really was. Today, he is considered one of the most important figures in Hungarian art. But during his lifetime, much of what made him extraordinary also made him difficult for others to accept. The Old Fisherman was painted in 1902. Compared with some of Csontváry's large and monumental landscapes, this work is more intimate. It gives us one man, placed directly in front of us. In the first mirrored version of The Old Fisherman, the image feels calm and human, with the still water in the background reinforcing a sense of peace and balance. He is wearing a normal fisherman's beret, his rain cloak appears protective, and his eyes seem tired but peaceful. His hands are joined together in a prayer-like gesture, adding to the sense of stillness. In the second mirrored version, however, the same elements become much darker and more unsettling. The calm scene transforms into something ominous. The beret turns into horn-like shapes, the cloak resembles a coat of feathers, and his eyes look far more sinister and threatening. Behind him, the once still waters become rough and agitated, adding to the feeling of chaos and unease. The hand gesture feels more ritualistic, and the overall atmosphere becomes shadowy, eerie, and almost demonic, revealing the hidden duality within the painting. You could say this is all a coincidence, but is it really? Tivadar seemed almost obsessed with creating worlds of duality inside his paintings. In Castellamare di Stabia, the peaceful blue sea is opposed by the heavy, dark mountain. In Rendezvous of Lovers, romance and light stand beside a shadowy, dreamlike abyss. And in The Lonely Cedar, the tree itself seems split between life and death, beauty and decay. His paintings often feel like dreams, where reality is familiar but slightly distorted, as if something hidden is trying to reveal itself. And knowing that Tivadar was also a pharmacist, it is hard not to see echoes of alchemy in his work. Transformation, opposites, light and darkness, life and death. So when the Old Fisherman reveals two completely different faces through mirroring, maybe it was not an accident at all. Maybe it was part of the same hidden language Tivadar kept painting again and again. If Tivadar's paintings often seem to hide secret meanings beneath their dreamlike surfaces, his pencil drawings reveal a very different side of his artistic world. While his painted works are colorful, symbolic, and filled with strange dualities, his drawings are much more realistic, quiet, and melancholic. Instead of surreal landscapes or mysterious transformations, these sketches focus on human presence with a raw simplicity. Most of the figures are shown in side profile, as if they were caught in a private moment of thought, sadness, or silence. The details are delicate, but the mood is heavy, revealing a more intimate and human side of Tivadar's art, one less concerned with fantasy and more focused on the loneliness hidden inside ordinary faces. The Authority, a Tekintuli, is one of the philosophical writings of Tivadar Kosztka Csontváry, and it shows how deeply his art was connected to his inner beliefs. He was trying to explain the invisible force behind genius, creation, and spiritual truth. In this pamphlet, Tivadar seems less like a traditional painter and more like a prophet defending his own vision, questioning who has the right to judge art, greatness, and destiny. For him, authority was not simply about social power or institutions. It was something higher, something almost divine, connected to the mission of the artist. This makes his paintings feel even more mysterious, because the same man who created dreamlike worlds full of light, shadow, life, and death was also writing about the invisible laws that guide human greatness. But during his lifetime, many people saw him as strange, isolated, and difficult to understand. His visionary mind was too intense for the world around him. Tivadar died in Budapest in 1919, poor and alone, almost like one of the solitary figures hidden inside his own paintings. But his silence did not erase him. It only made his art feel even more haunting, as if he had left behind not just paintings, but fragments of a private universe still waiting to be understood. So what do you think is the true meaning of the Old Fisherman? Was Tivadar trying to represent the eternal struggle between life and death, light and darkness, peace and corruption? Or was he suggesting something even more disturbing, that the devil can sometimes hide behind the face of a kind and ordinary person? Maybe that is why his art still feels so powerful today. It does not give us easy answers, only haunting questions.